I mean, I've got a lot to unpack here. I could talk about Custer mispronouncing Brigitte. I could talk about... Yeah. We could talk about as well, I think Zoe was about to say something maybe that would have been a little bit naughty as well, something to do with the ocean, something about bathrooms.
Don't know what she meant.
Combining the two. We're not going to go on to that. Instead, we're going to focus on the match at hand, because it's the two Western teams here in this tournament, and they're going to be determining who is the best here in this match here in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have the grand finals later on, once we get to the culmination of the June Joust, to decide who truly is the best team at this tournament cycle. But it's looking like it's somebody from North America. It's looking like it's going to be the Dallas Fuel or the Atlanta Reign, and one of them will book their ticket to that final of the June Joust here in this match. And the desk is kind of split. If you include Danny, they are directly split down the middle. And I wasn't expecting that. I think the safe money is definitely on the Dallas Fuel here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that as well. Let's take a look at the Dallas Fuel starters and who they are rolling out for this one. It's probably going to be a very familiar lineup as well. These guys, obviously, they're live in Hawaii. I was paying attention to the pre-match lobby. Jexa was kind of rubbing it in to the observers that he's in Hawaii and they're not. Like accidentally. It was a very wholesome interaction. He was like, "Where are you guys?" And everyone was like, "Well, we're all working from here, 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 here." And Jexa was like, "I'm in Hawaii." And they were like, "Oh, thanks for letting us know." But
Brent, take a look at those. If you just spotted those power rankings with IVM Watson, every single player for the Dallas Fuel in the top 3 of their role, that is just outrageous. It truly is. Every player here is incredible this season. They've made an insane run throughout the main melee, ended up winning that tournament, and they're here to defend the title once more. Booking their ticket to the grand final would be their first step.
Certainly would, yes. Let's take a look on the other side of things. Their opposition, the Atlanta Reign. And yeah, this is a roster where, you know, the dominance that we've witnessed from them thus far in the June Joust, they're going to be looking to keep this moving forwards. And as the desk kind of set up as well, these two teams, the Atlanta Reign and the Dallas Fuel, I mean, they've just been on an absolute tear. And this is going to be our first look, honestly, at these two teams. You can see the lineup here as well. Speaking of the power rankings of IBM Watson, they're all up there as well, alongside Pelican, who has been mentioned as one of these key victory points for the Atlanta Reign to be able to work off. But yeah, these two teams haven't played each other in 2021 yet. This is going to be our first look of it in the upper bracket match here in the June Joust Tournament.
I love this as well, because like the desk said, it is a clash of styles. But to me, versatility is not the key to this meta. I think that has been proven when the Gladiators faced off against the Dallas Fuel. They lost against Dallas trying to run these Orisa compositions and hold the line, hodl, as Custer's saying. If you're predicting the Atlanta Reign here, it's because of this first map, Nepal. You need to see Atlanta come out and at least be competent, look like they have a chance of winning in the mirror. And why do I say the mirror? It's because Edison is in. Anytime Edison and Pelican are your DPS line, you're expecting the Atlanta Reign to be running the mirror. The zombie composition, if you want to call it that, where nobody dies, everybody's diving in, playing against each other. The Moira Lucio rush compositions with that Reaper and the Echo. That's what Atlanta Reign are going to start out with here, unless they're throwing some crazy curveball. And this, to me, defines the match, Brent, more so than whether they can even hold the line. Because if you just give up every control map, you simply can't win a BO5. You can't win a first to 3 match if you're just giving away control.
Yeah, becomes much more difficult for them, and we'll see if they've got anything niche coming out, but it seems like we're going to be anticipating that these teams are going to be matched in the mirror. One thing to note as well, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch. The Atlanta Reign, typically, as well, when we were watching their match the other day, some of the team fights that may have gone a little bit skew with Pelican and Kai and Edison, these guys, the DPS for the Atlanta Reign, have been bailing them out by creating these magical moments. And this clash now to see if they can do the same against the Dallas Fuel, who have potentially been the best team running this composition so far that we've seen in this June Joust. Well, we're about to find out as the teams have reached a control point. They're going to be butting heads immediately, as well, trading a couple of blows. Sparkle just trying to pump in a bit of that damage at the off angle. Doha goes down. Nice little punish there coming out from Pelican. And as soon as Doha's gone, it's a lack of damage now for the Dallas Fuel. Can't really afford to play this one.
Dallas back up a little bit here, but they're just waiting for a recon test. They might want to recommit once the core essence comes out. If they get Doha back off the spawn or reconnected with them, they'll have an opportunity to go back in. And Iris hasn't got the call up yet. There's a small window of opportunity, but it looks like Dallas have just missed it.
Yeah, we see the Coalescence is being traded. Either team just trying to use them out, completely negating the advantages that's going to be coming out. Gator goes down there, and that's Sparkle now going to be assuming the form of the Diva on either side. Duplix come through to self-destruct. Not going to be finding too much, forces the positioning back, but is it going to be enough for them still? Dallas Fuel operating with a bit of a disadvantage in this fight. Another big self-destruct over the top. It's going to take Sparkle out of that duplicate form again, and Edison holding onto this Death Blossom. It's looking like he wants to offload it, but instead it's Doha's time to try and make it work. Edison comes back into the back line. And it's going to be set up nicely there by the Atlanta Reign. Still winnable potentially for the Dallas Fuel, but actually, I take that back. Fearless is going to be made into mincemeat. The support line down, not a winnable fight for them.
And so far, Atlanta are playing superbly. Pelican with an amazing ultimate there, but also Edison towards the end. Phenomenal presence of mind to not worry about Doha's Death Blossom, but just to get max value out of his own. And Doha has been a bit of a weakness in these mirror matches before. He fell early on in team fights repeatedly against the San Francisco Shock. And it feels like Atlanta are trying to isolate Doha and Jexa. And speaking of the latter, he has a sound barrier, but Sparkle's already fallen.
Yep, Sparkle goes down so early. You can't lose your DPS like that. Massa ends up going down though, 90% and counting. Jexa is going to be using the sound barrier now. Wants to go in off of that. He knows there's not going to be a response. But the Coalescence comes through from Atlanta now, and it's going to be staving them away for the time being. Still holding on to the point. Dallas now want to be going in and starting to engage with the cooldowns that they've got left. Doha pumping in the damage of those Hellfire shotguns. Just walking over the opposition. And the Atlanta Reign forced to disengage from this one. Wonderful attempt there from the Dallas Fuel there. Great disengage, even after losing Sparkle.
Yeah, they actually managed to get a crucial pick onto Massa. That's the game changer right there. With the Lucio falling, no sound barrier available, and the Atlanta Reign have to reset. It's not a bad situation though for Atlanta. They're going to be able to push back in with all 6 ults available. Okay, Iris is only at 50%, but those ults charge like in 50 seconds. So just wait around a little bit. It's like having it on cooldown.
Doha's ready and waiting. Rayform comes back to Death Blossom at the choke point. It's going to be stripping away a lot of the shields that the Atlanta Reign were gaining there. From the sound barrier, now the self-destruct's coming through into the back, but Edison already pushed out. There, the boosters of Hanbin finding his target. Fearless also going to be using that Primal Rage, seeing if he can get any sort of work done. Might have just found a target there. Does get the fade out of Iris, and Iris will be falling momentarily. There you go. Dallas Fuel now still in control of this one and getting these stagger kills as well as a cherry on top.
They didn't find an opportunity for Iris to use his Coalescence. Everybody was very spread out as soon as they engaged. Dallas's tanks did a phenomenal job of scattering the Atlanta Reign around. And this composition, it always wants to stay together. Yeah, you can flank with like one Reaper teleporting into the backline, but generally it wants to clump up together and play tight. Now they can go for a speed boost engage with the Coalescence and have Edison teleport in somewhere. That's who I'm watching. This Death Blossom, it's got to be huge for Atlanta to tie this up.
Well, he's going to queue up the teleport. Oh, he's straight on the elephant statue. Soundbarrier comes out from Dallas. Doesn't catch onto Hanbin, and that's almost the D-Mech coming through. Now the Coalescence just about fading, and it's a better one from Dallas. They did flip the point. Dallas now have to play into this, and the Death Blossom is going to be cleaving through them once more. Jexa goes down, and it's set up enough damage that the Atlanta Reign going to be dominant in this team fight. The overtime definitely burning here. Dallas Fuel unable to really contest with the pieces they've got going for them. So round number 1 will eventually be going their way, as Fearless will just trade his body out onto the point in the final moments.
Incredible beginning to this match from the Atlanta Reign. Almost everybody was expecting that Dallas Fuel would have a large advantage when it came to this mirror. But to me, Brent, it defines the entire series. Ignore the Torbjorn and the Orisa comps and all of that stuff. The Dallas Fuel here, their bread and butter is to win using this rush composition. If you take that out of their hands, if you prove to them early on that you can beat them in the mirror, suddenly you've taken away their trump card. Atlanta still needs to finish it out here, but this is looking good to start with Nepal. Dallas have to rethink their approach here a little bit. They're getting caught out. When they go aggressive, Edison's Death Blossoms have been huge so far.
5, 4,
Certainly have.
2, 1.
We're going to see just how further they can take it. Again, the mirror compositions from both these teams as they're going to be rolling out, trading blows. You can see it's like synchronized diving. You see the Echo Try shots coming out from either side, either team, and they're just waiting, trying to find an opportunity to dive in there. You can see the leap comes through from Fearless. The bubbles drop down on either side as well, soaking up a bit of that damage. Sparkle having his free reign, honestly, as well. able to pump in those sticky bombs. And now with Massa gone, that's the dive engage coming out from the Dallas Fuel. They recognize that they can definitely follow up and clean up the rest of this team fight when they were missing their Lucio.
Fantastic response from Dallas there. They come out in that opening engagement, slowly take control of the high ground, don't overextend into Atlanta, Doha playing really carefully as well, and then they isolate Massa with a boop and take him down. Really nice play there, just slowing the pace down, finding a target, eliminating them. Methodical shift of pace here for Dallas Fuel.
Duplicate is ready and waiting now for Sparkle. These ultimates would be huge. Has a big advantage, honestly, over this. Coalescences coming through. Sparkle's going to be still holding on. Now he's going to use the Duplicate. Opts to use it now onto the Winston, trying to build up the Primal. Will get it off. Now he's going to be trying to separate the backline. Iris using that fade just to get away, but he's faded right into danger as Doha will offload that Death Blossom. That's more than enough for them. Sparkle's really just not letting up in the slightest. Wants to get this finished. Kill there onto Gator as well. Back to the point now. What a response from the Dallas Fuel coming off the back of that round.
Fantastic response from Dallas. They set that up gorgeously. The double DPS ult just caused a trap for Atlanta that they couldn't escape from. And Dallas now have control of the high ground completely. Let's take a look at this from Doha's point of view here. As Sparkle's knocking... Oh, well, maybe not. We're going back into the next engagement. Mass has gone for a crazy sound barrier here, Brent, but it's been responded by Jexa.
Yeah, I don't believe that connected onto too many targets at all. Atlanta's still trying to fight this one, though. Hawk is going to remech. Not going to get any value out of the damage that comes through, though. And Dallas now, see Fearless leaping forwards just to try and hold away this choke point. A lot of that damage getting ate up there by Hadbin. Now the Coalescence engage comes in ever so later. Iris so low. Opts to use the Coalescence to try and turn this fight, but they've really lost Gator and Massa. I don't know about that one, Josh. That is... might be coming back to bite them here. 90% in counting almost here for the Dallas Fuel, and they don't have the Coalescence.
That is a huge problem for the Atlanta Reign. That was their key ultimate to be able to get back into this fight. They're going to desperately touch, but they have nothing. Fearless's Primal Rage might just knock them all off the point.
Well, there we go. Yeah, I mean, he's just forced to face into the damage here. Sparkle tearing through them again. Look at that, the sticky bombs come through. Last minute Duplicate there onto the Diva. And the Atlanta Reign not going to be winning out this round here. That's 100-0 to the Dallas Fuel. An incredible answer back, honestly, from them, especially the way that went. I mean, everybody was really, I think, expecting Dallas Fuel to be a little bit stronger in the mirror match, I think, between these two teams. But it's very clear the Atlanta Reign have come in with some form of preparation. Still, we'll go into distance now in map number 1. Yeah, I mean, it's all coming down to this.
And the key there to the previous round to Village, Bren, is that the Dallas Fuel got control. Oh, here's this replay from Doha's point of view again. But they got control of the fight at the beginning. They won the first engagement, and then they're playing aggressively. As the Atlanta Reign try and come in through the choke points, they're pushing into them with ultimates, trying to get value out of Sparkle and out of Doha. And now we see a shift. Sparkle moving to Doomfist, and Doha picks up the Echo here. Is the Atlanta Reign going to be prepared for this? They might. See, Atlanta could just go really aggressively here, and Sparkle won't have time to be able to get picks. But are they going to notice that early enough and adjust their game plan?
Oh, Sparkle coming right around the corner. Seismic slam down. He gets a ton of work done, actually. Backing off to the rest of his team. And the Atlanta Reign, it does kind of put pressure on them because they can't play around this corner. Sparkle, I mean, he just bashes his fist into Iris. Could not withstand it in the slightest. And now the engage goes further. We'll get punished there for a little bit of hubris, diving into the backline, trying to take out Pelican. But ultimately, it is a team fight win here for the Dallas Fuel. And we've seen Sparkle run this Doomfist so often, pulling it out. You can really honestly refer to it as his trump card almost, because it is a specialist hero that this guy loves to pull out. And especially on this particular section in Nepal, so close quarters, it works so well.
Yeah, there's tiny little rooms and choke points to play around. And this is the danger. Atlanta Reign, they lost the first engagement, and now they have to push in against a large advantage from Dallas.
Pelican? Okay, moving the Duplicate. Oh, he cancels the Coalescence! What is that? You've got to be kidding me! Meteor Strike down may have just turned this fight for the Atlanta Reign. Oh, the presence of mind in that moment. Jexa still, though, trying to continue this team fight there. The soundbar was committed. Finally, Pelican's going to get taken out of that form. But a sticky bombs from afar. The beam gets the D-Mech. What a ridiculous clutch from Pelican. And this guy, I mean, people are heralding him as potentially the best Echo in the game right now. Definitely showcasing there. I cannot believe the decision-making to select the Doomfist in that scenario.
It's so good, and that's what makes him such an incredible Echo. Not only is his base Echo skill phenomenal, but whenever he duplicates, he becomes the best of that hero on the board anyway. He just outplayed everybody on Dallas there, but he doesn't have it online for this fight.
Yeah, another Coalescence. Now to Death Blossom. Edison, though, he's susceptible in that Death Blossom form.
Just got into
Actually
Wraith.
pay for it with his life. Yeah, he just about managed to avoid a lot of that damage coming through. Dallas still trying to fight this one. They got the kill onto Massa and Edison. With that Coalescence on top field, it's just about to fade most likely. Pelican still holding on to it now. Now going to be offloading it again. Changing forms into the Diva, just trying to build up one of those self-destructs. The punish comes through, the bomb into the back, just trying to contest up onto the point as well. Nobody really wants to approach Pelican, just in case they get within range of that recall damage. He's going to get D-Meg though, eventually brought out of the fight, and it is a slow grind here for the Dallas Fuel, but eventually they are going to be able to take this.
And they burnt a huge amount of ultimates out of the Atlanta Rain too. Massa dying early on to that bomb was pretty devastating for them. He just dropped the beat, probably to save himself. It applied to the rest of the team, but he still got caught. And now Dallas Fuel are in control of the point, and they have a massive ultimate advantage. They're going to get up to both support ults first, and they have a duplicate for Doha to go off.
And here it is, the duplicates used nice and early here onto the Diva, as we can all imagine. Sparkle as well, just hammering into pressure with his abilities.
And taken
that's
out.
going to be a lovely punish coming through. This might be an opportunity for the Atlanta Rain to come back in. The punches are doing a tremendous amount of work, but what a boop! Massa, that is fantastic. Exactly what his team needed, but Gator's going to get traded out anyway. Now the Coalescences and the Soundbarrier from Jexa. On top of this one, the Atlanta Rain managed to force a lot out of the Dallas Fuel here. I don't know if they're going to be able to win this team fight, but they're definitely going to be able to make it expensive for them. No, they want to continue to fight. Now the Soundbarrier comes through. The Atlanta Rain continuing to try and put pressure onto them, and Edison is going to close this one out, surely with that one. 2 kills for him with the Death Blossom. Might be able to get this D-Mech as well on top. Just going to be trying to put the bodies now onto the point to keep this one going. The Atlanta Rain, though, wrangling it back from the jaws of defeat. What a ridiculous team fight.
Fearless with the assist on that Death Blossom as well. Don't know whether you caught that, but Fearless was whacking Edison, trying to get him out of the rest of his team, and instead just sent him spiraling into the squishies of the Dallas Fuel. The alley-oop there for Edison to slam dunk, but this potentially final fight territory right here. Fielder's going to have a faster Coalescence, but as long as Doha doesn't die, yeah, Dallas still do have a big opportunity. Pelican's got to be the playmaker again on Doom.
What? He's found it. There we go. The Doomfist plays are just immaculate here. The Meteor Strike just to try and really close them out here at the choke point. Self-destruct over the top. In a dangerous scenario. The duplicate comes through, and Pelican is taken out of it. Not going to be able to do much outside of that Doomfist. Oh my god, Sparkle actually getting a bit of airtime there on the staircase. Yeah, with the seismic slam still. The point is
they have
over.
to touch.
The Atlanta Rain have to touch this one. They're committing both the support ults to do so now. Rolling deep onto the point. The Atlanta Rain are finding all the advantages in their hands now. Iris with a perfectly timed fade. It's going to be dodging a lot of that damage that's coming through from the self-destruct, and Fearless, one of the last ones standing. It's going to be chunked down. Can't do it in the Primal Rage form. This is looking like the Atlanta Rain holding strong here and taking away map number 1.
What an insane performance from the Rain.
Holy.
Doing it in the mirror when no one else believed. Look at their faces as well. It is, they're bouncing. Gator is actually bouncing in his chair because they know that they've taken one of the crucial win conditions away from Dallas. Dallas have been essentially winning every control map against these top teams recently, and Atlanta have just stolen it away in the same manner that they stole it away from the San Francisco Shock. And Bren, I simply cannot understand how Atlanta won that final team fight. They lost the first 2 picks. Sparkle killed Iris, the main source of healing, right at the beginning, and yet Atlanta still go for a mini retreat, are just able to touch the point with Hawk and Pelican, and somehow wrangle that back into their control. What an opening map to this upper bracket final.
Completely subverted my expectations. I was fully anticipating the Dallas Fuel to come out as the stronger team in the mirror, but here we go, the Atlanta Rain showcase, and they didn't come to Hawaii for nothing. We're going to go to a short break. On the other side of things, of course, this series is going to be continuing. You don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League. And by the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Go to takemetomanoa.org today.
Welcome back, everybody. Before we get back into the game, we want to give a special shout out to everybody at the University of Hawaii at Manoa who are helping to make this weekend possible. They've been incredibly gracious hosts to all of our staff who did travel to Hawaii this weekend. And yeah, without the help of the university and its esports club, we wouldn't even be able to have a June Joust. So thank you once again to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Seems like a lovely place to go and study as well. I mean, it doesn't hurt that it's in Hawaii. I mean, I think that would be a fantastic place to go and study. Let's take a look at our Indeed player resume as well. Not bad at all. And we're taking a look at a Pelican for this one. This guy, obviously, numerous accomplishments, and he's hoping at the end of this weekend to add another one to the list. This guy's so phenomenal. He's been a key to victory. The desk was going on about it, about how Pelican really does open up these opportunities and he creates weaknesses for the other DPS player, whether it's Edison or Kai, to really capitalize. And speaking of Kai, is coming in here as a sub, Satushan, in for Edison, so he's going to be playing alongside Pelican because we're heading over to the Assault game type, looking at that long-range hit scan as an option now for the Atlanta Reign.
Or possibly not even the long-range hit scan. We might see them go straight up for the Reaper Torbjorn as well. So it is very possible that Pelican might choose to move off his signature Echo here, because as we head towards Volskaya, you've got to remember that this is one of the rare occurrences in which it is the Dallas Fuel's pick for Assault. Almost always in recent history, it has been the opponent of the Dallas Fuel picking the Assault map. We've seen them play on Hanamura very recently. I think we saw one team try and take them to Anubis as well. Most of the time, it's not worked. It is very difficult to find an Assault map where Dallas are not comfortable, and this is where they are the most comfortable. The Shanghai Dragons attempted to try and fight them here on Volskaya yesterday, and it just was not happening. It was not happening in any sense. Now, part of that is because the Shanghai Dragons composition was last minute and was just kind of theory crafted and not play tested. But Atlanta Reign here do have a decent theory up their sleeve. It's this Reaper Torbjorn combo that you can already see at the top right with the Moira and the Brigitte. It's a very tanky backline, tanky front line, tanky all the way through. But we don't really know whether it's going to work here. We haven't had this directly tested on a large open map like Volskaya.
In theory, I mean, it would provide a lot of options for, I guess, if Sparkle decides to run, or he is going to be committing 2 Doomfist. But, you know, if Sparkle engages into Kai, for example, I mean, you can pop the Overload, you get a bit of extra durability as well. It is a very, very durable composition in terms of the health, the armor, everything it's got going for it, really. We just need to see it in practice now, and this is what the Atlanta Reign are going to be looking to showcase here.
It's also possible that they scout Sparkle's Doom and go back and just play the Reaper Echo themselves, because they should have an advantage on a wide open map like this. But instead, it looks like they're going to commit to it. They're at least poking and prodding forwards. Atlanta are trying to bait Dallas into being the ones to engage here. Atlanta just taking space slowly, looking for Dallas to go in, and it's about baiting a bad engage out of the Winston Cop.
Certainly is. Sparkle wants them against this wall here. You can see him charging up the punch straight into it. They get the engagement onto him, get the stun, but not the kill. Doha goes down, though, in the midst of that one. Now the Coalescence is coming through from both these teams, but again, Sparkle's going to be going down. There's a lot of that damage coming through the Atlanta Reign. You can see how durable, how brawly this composition is. The Dallas Fuel trying to find those openings. Even with Sparkle engaging and actually connecting the punch, still not enough.
And normally these kind of compositions would be played with a Batiste. A BAP Brig backline is really common. But you can see there that Iris's Moira, the fact that he gets the Coalescence at the same time as Fielder, gives them the tempo equalization to be able to fight on even footing against the Dallas Fuel and even pick off Sparkle in the middle of that thanks to a nicely timed aggression by Hawk. Now they have some decent ultimates to work with. I think it's going to be quite hard for Atlanta to get good value here again, because this is where Dallas, they control the high ground, they can go for aggressive defensive plays at these chokes, and yeah, Atlanta were never really in this fight.
Yeah, they tried to take away the high ground, certainly. But Dallas are going to have all that mobility available to them. And now, that is a bit of a here's the thing, when I've been looking at this kind of composition be play tested, the kind of Orisa and the Diva, missing the Lucio, you don't have much tempo in the way of things. It is purely about trying to bait good engagements for you and trying to force Dallas to make mistakes. Which is a team, they don't make mistakes generally with this composition. They're very, very disciplined.
They're extremely good. Immediately there, Dallas, they engage as soon as they hear the supercharger go down. Hanbin in with the self-destruct, and the rest of Dallas, they're trying to follow up.
Yeah, the pulse, I should say the self-destruct gets an immense amount of work done there, and there's Sparkle right up into the uppercut meteor strike as well. His team is backing up. He's going to get stunned up against the wall. Still trying to make it work, though. Doa obviously building up these self-destructs nice and quick. That's going to be easy peasy for him. Someone needs to save Sparkle here. I can't believe he's going in, engaging even deeper into this one. He's so low this entire time. He's been playing on the precipice of dying, but yeah, it is a one and done team fight there for the Fuel. Building up that Coalescence for the next fight as well.
Atlanta just had a huge team fight and only one person had even the opportunity to use an ultimate. That's what we mean when we talk about Dallas Fuel's tempo. They're taking fights as you enter. They're not letting you get set up. And here's another one. This time, though, they're pushing out even deeper than I would recommend. That just opens the door for Atlanta to come in here. That might have been inadvisable for the Fuel.
Yeah, Spark was just about going to escape with his life. Kai going to be laying down the molten lead. You can see it's going to start burning the Dallas Fuel as they're trying to push into them. Pelican using that Death Blossom just to cut in a bit of that damage now, but Doha's going to be evening it up there with the tri-shot. Now still trying to take this fight. They've got a lot of presence onto the point. That self-destruct is good as well. Fielder gets caught off on the side, tried to hide on the staircase. Won't be happening. It's all up now to the remnants of Dallas to try and turn this one. See the duplicate coming out. Doha moving over to the Diva form as well. And as the spawners come back in, it is going to be the hold here for the Dallas Fuel.
I'm back in the fight.
Great pick early on onto Pelican, but also Dallas making a rare mistake there. They did overstep themselves. They opened the door for Atlanta. Thankfully, they were able to deny the second tick. Look at that, 65.6%. They were so close to giving up 2 irreparable ticks that would have given Atlanta a huge advantage. And now that Atlanta have used all their ultimates, they go over to the rush composition themselves. And this should, in theory, give them a bit of an advantage, because the Reaper Echo, I think, plays favorably into the Echo Doomfist. It's just whether Sparkle can make magic happen.
Sparkle, not many cooldowns there. Ended up punching straight into the pillar. Now the engage comes through right into them. Coalescence comes out from either side. Sparkle trying to cancel that ult up. The Meteor Strike into the back somehow catches Kai. Kai gone as well. Going to be missing a tremendous amount of damage now to try and take this fight further forward. The Atlanta Reign still going to be opting into it though, just kind of remaining around this choke point. That beam damage, Doha's so close to try and remove his opposition, but Pelican gets the better of him. That is absurd. Eventually traded out by Fearless in the end, but the scrappier this fight gets, the better it is arguably now for the Dallas Fuel. Obviously the spawners coming through. Fearless wants to keep this one going just a little bit longer now, committing that Primal Rage. Is able to stop them from pushing past this choke point.
They've had to back off, though, from the choke, and now Atlanta have a little bit of a doorway in. I don't know how many players are actually with them here, but Iris and Massa are both with the team, so they can invest double support ultimate here. Pelican has also got the ultimate off Bren.
Yeah, and now the self-destruct comes straight up into the air instantly. It's going to be forcing the position of Atlanta to the sides. Is it enough to capitalize off? No, the Atlanta Reign are the first ones to get the casualty, though. Sparkle falling, it's opened things up for them, and that Coalescence advantage really paying off there. Just a couple of seconds extra, but that damage is all they need, and now Pelican just making it look easy from the skies. Beaming down Jackson, not going to be having that Lucio. And Atlanta Reign just looking larger in charge now, cleaning up any sort of presence that's happening onto the point. The South comes over. Kai caught, didn't have that Ray form available to him. Could be an option here for Dallas Fuel, but unable to get the bodies on to keep that going. And the Atlanta Reign going to be taking this point away now with 1 minute and 1 second on the clock for their time back.
That could be crucial. That really could be crucial. 1 minute and 1 second on the clock gives them extra win conditions here. It means that they can just try and hold the Dallas Fuel to overtime and they won't have an opportunity to respond. What a performance from Atlanta. And Bren, they really showed the advantages of versatility. So far in this meta, across the June Joust, there have been a lot of talk with analysts around the scene praising people's versatility. The Gladiators, they can play the Rush and they can play the Orisa comps. Atlanta Reign, they can play the Orisa comps and they've shown the ability to play Rush. But at the end of the day, a lot of these teams have just been losing to Dallas, playing their style the best. And there was always this question for Atlanta. If Kai is in, how comfortable does he look when he moves to the Reaper? And even though he got caught out in a couple of those instances, mainly to big self-destructs after he'd already used Wraith, overall that was a pretty cohesive performance. Considering that Edison is their usual player when they run that rush comp, Atlanta really lent heavily on their versatility there, forcing Sparkle into the Doom and then swapping to a superior comp to try and punish. A great showcase of why the Atlanta Reign players have said recently in interviews that they feel like Dallas are limited in the meta right now, whereas they are not.
It's one of the win conditions that we've seen when Dallas played against Shock. You know, forcing Dallas into these uncomfortable scenarios, really kind of playing to the fact that, you know, they haven't really incorporated, you know, Pine into this team.
Sure.
We are witnessing a bit of a change up here. Okay, Sparkle though, I mean this is another one of his pocket picks and we've seen this one before actually. Playing the Genji here. And especially on Volskaya, this guy, he's so good. I mean, he just managed to get these engagements on. Typically in response to the hit scan as well, is what you see this when you see this come out. And we're going to see what he can do.
Yeah, normally Dallas go for really hard engages based off Sparkle here. Kai is going to be having to rotate and think about this a lot. Speed boost ready to come out at any point here with the Coalescence. That was what they're looking for. And then Fearless will go for a hard engage.
Ooh, the sticky bomb's damage boosted up. Doha going to be even it up though, as Massa will go down. Atlanta Reign missing that Mercy. Not going to have the res for this fight. Self-destruct into close corridors there. The Dallas Fuel might be in trouble. No, just about avoiding it. And now Pelican's still going to be trying to chase down a couple of them. The Dallas Fuel, though, were just biding their time, waiting indoors. And now the engagement comes through, trying to punish Pelican. So low, but they've overstepped themselves. It was a beautiful little bait play there from the Atlanta Reign. And Pelican's still healthy, just outputting so much damage.
That was incredible. I think Iris was hitting mid-air heals onto him with the Batiste there to keep him alive after Hanbin was pressuring him. And Pelican just getting all the resources from the rest of his team. Now that Massa is back alive, they're going to be able to recontest this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've managed to stabilize it. Now the Amp Matrix comes up onto the high ground. The damage boost, Pelican searching for these flank angles, but Dallas Fuel, it's an intelligent play from them. Straight through the building, you're going to be really just diving onto the backline there with the Coalescence as well. And that has brought them the opportunity they need now to capture this point up.
Very nicely played. Dallas are almost unstoppable though, Brent. When they play these kind of compositions into the Orisa, they just win. It is rare that you see them full health on maps like Volskaya or even Hollywood, the map where Gladiators was able to hold them. That was a rarity, the exception that proves the rule. And that required a Torbjorn and a Reaper. These Atlanta comps with the Ash and the Echo, I just don't think they're going to be able to work. Kai's made the shift over to McCree here to try and give him an extra piece of CC to stop Sparkle. But this ult, it's pretty much online.
Yeah, the Dragon Blade is ready. Fearless gets brought down very early on though. Dallas are now, okay, they're just going to try to decide, we're going to disengage from this one. We don't want to be taking this fight, obviously, when the main tank is down. Waits out the Supercharger as well.
Exactly, they baited out Supercharger here. The only defensive ultimate that Atlanta Reign have available is a zoning self-destruct. And that's what that's what Hawk will go for as Sparkle engages. But how are you supposed to stop Sparkle's Blade plus Doha's duplicate and double tank ultimates? Dallas have everything they need to do to win.
He's going for it, he's trying to chase him down! Oh my goodness, right down into the drink almost. Another little slash there onto the Valking Mercy. Masado is going to get that res up, so Gator back into the fight. He's going to give them a decent chunk of health to work with, but not for much longer as he's bursted down straight into the skybox as well. Mass is eventually brought to his knees, and that is going to be the Dallas Fuel in swift control at this point. Probably going to be able to get 2 ticks here. Yes, they are. Now the Atlanta Reign. How are they going to be trying to engage back into this one? Pelican moving over now to the Doom Fist. It's a bit of a stall pick, but they punish him adequately here, right into the side of Volskaya. Finding that one pick off for them. They removed him. He was the biggest threat, honestly, to try and get themselves back into this one. Deadeye from a far Kai, forced to cancel it out. Or maybe didn't really get any value at all from it. Dallas still holding on, and you can see the damage they're doing. Just so methodical in terms of their decision-making of which targets they want to be diving onto.
Yeah, this is phenomenal stuff by Dallas Fuel. They're losing a couple of percentage points of health.
Kai,
he's popping heads, but surely this isn't doable for Atlanta. They barely have anybody alive, and the blade comes out from Sparkle. He finishes them the way that he began this team fight. Those blades are just phenomenal. And Bren, at the beginning of that fight, as Sparkle went in for the blade, they chose the side route on the right, where Hawk couldn't get a very good self-destruct to zone him out, and so Hawk instead, he tried to boost after Sparkle and knock him around. Instead, Jexa was there, just boop, and Hawk goes into the drink, into the dark, cold depths of the Volskaya River. And Dallas Fuel, they respond amazingly. 3-minute time bank.
That is quite a lot to work with. The Atlanta Reign going to be scratching their heads ever so slightly as they're going to be on the attacking side of things now. And a lot of that time bank, honestly, was whittled down from them transitioning from that Orisa brawly composition to the kind of rush comp when they were trying to attack into checkpoint B. Here's the final moments here of Doha. And yeah, I mean, Echo staying alive, you're just getting more and more value the longer the Echo is on the playing field as well. I mean, the sticky bomb's like already up, the beam's already up. using it multiple times in one fight to just clean up the rest of them. But yeah, the Atlanta Reign now on the attacking side. Obviously last time they opted into this kind of brawly composition. This time playing the rush. They realize that it's going to be one of their only opportunities to take a lot of team fights with this little time that they've got.
And Dallas have read this because Sparkle is now playing the Echo. Both teams understanding what the win conditions are, but this means that Dallas Fuel are no longer at any kind of disadvantage here on the defense. This is just going to be a slugfest for Point A.
Definitely. You can see Dallas just wanted to take the early team fight, not wanting to give up any sort of space on the map. Don't let them pass the truck. Eventually going to be letting up ever so slightly, so the Atlanta Reign got a bit of an off angle, and it comes in waves. Yeah, you can see the damage on either side. Still trying to hunt for this opportunity around the corner. The Atlanta Reign have managed to get in through this choke, and now they're going to be trying to dive onto potentially one of these targets. Coalescence is again coming out from either side, just to try and mitigate each other's impact. Both teams going to be healthy coming into this one. It's all going to come down to the forcing out of cooldowns. Now Sparkle over to the Diva on either side. The South Destructs are going to be coming up momentarily. Sound barriers from either team as well. Jexa with a slightly better one. South Destruct over the top. Not going to be receiving any sort of kills for it, but now the overtime is going. The Atlanta Reign in desperation. Probably not going to be enough. Pelican sends over to South Destruct. But unfortunately, 2 kills for him. Potentially turnable with Gator so low. Pelican's still in the fight. South Destruct to push them all the way. The Atlanta Reign, they just don't have the bodies for it. And that's going to be the overtime stopped without even getting a tick.
Phenomenal play by Dallas Fuel. I mean, they're just in control the entire time. They're the initiators, even though they're defending and were bunched up, kind of all huddled together inside that hut. As soon as they find a window to initiate, as soon as they realize that they have that coalescence to push on, they're the ones applying pressure to Atlanta. They got up to a faster primal rage, Brent, and I think that is the crucial difference maker. Fearless was able to go in so much deeper than Gator was because he had that get out of jail free card that could then cause havoc in the Atlanta Reign backline. Again, this Winston player for Dallas, their leader, comes up clutch again.
Ready.
Certainly does. Yeah, I mean, he's had a few funny moments, you know, batting Death Blossoming Reapers every now and then, but
sure,
ultimately
yeah,
this guy, I mean, it is. It's hard to be mechanically perfect, but Fearless certainly tries his best.
And here's the strategic swap, Brent. The Atlanta Reign on the defense, opting for what they assume is going to be the mirror. Sparkle might poke his head out and take a look, see if they're running the Orisa compositions again, but I would anticipate this just ending up in a mirror match. And we've got 3 minutes remaining. For Dallas Fuel, that is their time back to try and get a single tick. It's winnable for either side, but definitely it's in favor of the Fuel. Considering how well their attack went and how much time they've bought themselves this time around, they should be able to get a tick.
They should, yeah. It's the ball is in their court, and obviously with them on the attack, they get to scout out the composition that the Atlanta Reign are running, and now they're going to be making some switches, and this is the advantage that they're offered. It shaves off about 30 seconds, but ultimately all they need is one team fight win, and this is going to be a map win for them. The Atlanta Reign, I wonder.
He's already at 40%, Brett, compared to Iris's 20.
Yeah, the spam damage just really paying off there, and that could be disastrous for them, honestly, with, I think, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Now Dallas rotating up to the high ground. 70% in counting, 80% in counting. Field are so close to this coalescence, and Dallas, they realize it. They're going to get this so much faster than the opposition. Fielder, so close. Kai goes down before it's even online, and now finally the trigger is pulled. How are you going to be offsetting this? Well, you're not. The Atlanta Reign pushed off the point quite easily, it felt like. The Dallas Fuel taking away Volskaya Industry. They're going to be bringing this series up 1-1 here. Definitely got a match on our hands. I'm so happy to see these teams contending and contesting and going blow for blow. This might just go the distance.
What an amazing map there. Dallas Fuel showcasing that when they get to pick the assault maps, and even against an opponent who can use versatility against them, Dallas have all the answers. They really do. And anytime it trends towards a mirror, when we're outside of control, they have the answers. They know what to do. Dallas's methodical map rotations and positioning there just gave them the victory. The Atlanta Reign didn't want to put spam onto Dallas because it was building field assault. And then they just initiated because you're not spamming them. It's crazy how good they are.
They are so good at adapting as well from one map to the other, finding what the mistakes they were making. and just trying to mitigate them, offset them. We're going to be finding out on the other side of the break, though, just how far this series is really going to be going. We'll see you in just a few moments.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
The Angel of Death is here, quite the domineering presence. Get the new Widowmaker Legendary skin now through June 21st for just 200 League tokens. I've already purchased mine, Josh. I like to play Widowmaker. I think this is potentially one of the best skins that she's ever had. I mean, she's got tons of very good skins, but this is really just kind of shot right to the top.
She is graced with some of the best skins in the game, for sure. Do you think we're going to see any Widowmaker here as we head into our next map? Anyone going to be pulling out the old Angel of Death?
I think it's looking unlikely. I mean, our power rankings of IBM Watson, we're taking a look at our tank players here. It would have been quite fitting if it was DPS, unfortunately. We didn't have that foresight, you know, unfortunately. But yeah, the tank players here, as you can see, we've got the tank players on both of these teams here in the top 10 that are facing off against each other. In particular, you can see the Atlanta Reign guys who have really shot up the rankings over the last week entering the June Joust Tournament. Very impressive stuff from these guys over the course of the June Joust Tournament.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you can see, both of these teams so evenly matched, 1-1 currently as we're heading into our third map.
And this really is a big battle of strategy, Brent. All throughout the June Joust, people around the scene have been asking who wins when an Orisa team goes up against a Rush team in the June Joust. And the Atlanta Reign have decided to take us on in their hybrid map to Numbani and sub back in Edison, which means that they are going just purely for the Rush comp here. That's what it says to me, Brent. In theory, they could go for something where Edison plays Reaper and Pelican plays Torb, or you know, whatever variation of it. They could, in theory, run that, but I don't think it's going to happen. That Volskaya game was them testing out whether they could hold the line against the Dallas Fuel. They tried to run Orisa comps on defense, and they got barreled over. I would say the game plan for Atlanta for the rest of this series is probably to try and win in the same way they did on Nepal. Match the mirror and beat the Fuel.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be looking to do. I mean, they were capable of doing it, obviously, in that first map. We know that the Atlanta Reign can, you know, really go toe-to-toe here with the Dallas Fuel when they're running these compositions. And Numbani overall, this is a kind of game mode here that the Atlanta Reign are certainly comfortable on. As you can see at the bottom here, there's only the third match between these teams. The Reign won both of the previous matches 3-1. And an additional little fact as well that our stats wizard have cooked up in the back as well. I believe over the course of this season, the Atlanta Reign are 9-1 on hybrid maps.
Yeah, it is definitely a comfort area for them, and every map that they could go for is theoretically weak for the Fuel. Now, if the Atlanta Reign really wanted to go for Orisa compositions here, they could go for a Reaper Torb and pick Hollywood. So that's why I'm saying that this is such a strategically interesting match, is because Atlanta, even though the series is at 1-1, have been forced to play the Dallas Fuel's game. Now, Atlanta can beat them at it. We already saw that on Nepal. But are they going to be able to sustain it over the course of an entire series? This is yet another test. Numbani is going to be this mirror match. Let's see how they fare. Field are already building up a huge amount of that coalescence charge.
Hamping going straight for the jugular there, denying a lot of that jump coming through. The damage, oh my goodness, Fielder just almost got evaporated there. Had to use that fade. Does not have it into this fight. And look at Pelican. The pressure he's applying with those tri-shots. Unfortunately, it's Edison, though, who stepped a little bit too far forward. The Dallas Fuel opening things up, but evened out quite nicely there as Pelican with the sticky bombs will take out Jexa. Still staying alive, but it's going to be that coalescence built up. Irish just about getting his online, and now he's going to be building it to try and save his team. But it might be too little too late with the Primal Rage coupled on top. The Dallas Fuel have got all the damage. Is all they're working with, and that is just Winston difference right there. The Primal Rage to knock Gator off the edge. Oh my word.
You say that in terms of Winston diff. Look at Gator's percentage as well. 65% towards his ult. He cannot generate these ultimates as quickly as Fearless. That was the story as well when we looked at that team fight on Volskaya, where Fearless was able to get to his primal so much earlier. He's able to play at the front and generate damage and sustain for so long compared to the Atlanta tank.
Now we're going to see how the Atlanta Reign want to be stopping this card from moving. Mass obviously holding onto this sound barrier. Might not be wanting to use it for the engagement, but Doha's going to be leading it in his boots into the back line with the Death Blossom set up for the damage being done. The Death Blossom from Edison, actually. He didn't get punished out of it, but eventually he will, not before removing Doha from the fight. But even still, this card is going to keep moving forward, Josh. At the end of the day, it was the Dallas Fuel still on top when it comes to these team fights. The spawners are going to be coming back as well. They're going to be able to get some power positions as well to set up as, again, the Atlanta Reign trying to defend this.
No sound barrier available for Massa. And Jexa has his, with Fielder's Coalescence as well. This is just going to be checkpoint B, easily taken for Dallas Fuel, unless Pelican could come out with some magical duplicate.
Yeah, he has to get Valiant out of the Diva. He has to try and build up this self-destruct. It's going to get sent into the air. Sound barrier to match Pelican! Oh my goodness, that was actually Hawk's self-destruct. Excuse me, but Fielder punished nevertheless. Finding that pick-off, absolutely huge for them. The Atlanta Rain coming in, I believe, potentially with the double self-destructs, and at that point, there's no way you can run.
And Fielder can't fade in the middle of his coalescence. Just caught, trying to use the environment to duck behind something, break line of sight, but it wasn't enough. And Atlanta Rain, by the skin of their teeth, they hold on. I thought that was 100% going towards the fuel there. But now they've forced a ton of ultimates out of the fuel, and they've halted this momentum. It's still an enormous time bank, but this gives Atlanta an opportunity to get back into the game. They need to scout this rotation from Dallas and look for an aggressive engagement with the Cole, I think.
Fade's going to be used by Iris, actually. He realized he was in a troubling position. Split across here by Fearless as well, putting in the damage. Coalescence is going to come through just to try and heal up a lot of the members of the Atlanta Rain.
But look how easily Dallas escaped from this, because Atlanta aren't taking the fight to them. Dallas are forcing out ults and then just retreating.
All eyes on Edison here with the Death Blossom. Jex just a little bit too late with the boop. Doha going to be answering with one of his own, but that just makes him all the more weak now to those Hellfire shotguns. The self-destruct over the top round the corner will not be helping them out. And yeah, we're witnessing something going on with the screens, but there we go. Pelican burning it out. It will be the Atlanta Rain still holding on here in the streets phase.
A huge play by Edison. That is an enormous ultimate. Those are so crucial to be able to get off. And Doha went for his own, and Edison was also able to punish. Big Reaper play there from Edison in that team fight. And now you're looking at Pelican again with a duplicate. Probably going onto the Diva once more. Hanbin's going to be staring at a clone of himself. Another great boot to deny that engage as Fearless and Hanbin tried to brush the high ground.
So important to try and shove those tanks off the high ground. But yeah, these ults are just so good. And Fearless, I mean, he goes down to Edison, but it was his positioning that was forced, I think, in between the bus and the building.
Yeah.
Nowhere to run. Dallas Fuel forced to just go back to the drawing board with this one.
Now they have Iris and Massa up to ultimates. So another situation where the Atlanta Rain, in theory, could be favored here. We're looking towards Sparkle to be the difference maker. If Dallas are going to fight the uphill battle of taking checkpoint B, it'll be off Sparkle's incredible duplicate.
Sparkle forced to use that duplicate just to not die. Now the sound barrier layered on top as well. The Atlanta Rain need to try and stay into this one, but Jexa now gets the advantage. Better sound barrier for them. Gator just trying to, again, separate and disjoint a lot of the members of the Dallas Fuel. Sparkle is going to be using that self-destruct to clear through the point, and now, look at that, the Coalescence is able to get a ton done there, as all their positioning was forced into the choke point from that initial self-destruct coming through. Really well played there from the Dallas Fuel, eventually breaking through this defense of the Atlanta Rain.
Double self-destruct from Sparkle in that team fight just separates the Atlanta Rain and makes sure that nobody can follow up on Gator's Primal Rage. Gator was just alone, deep into enemy territory, trying to get value out of his ultimate. But nevertheless, it's been a decent defense so far. Atlanta were able to pump the brakes on the Dallas train, and now they have another opportunity. A lot of these team fights towards the end end up slowing down enormously. Doha's already in a sneaky position.
Oh, Dallas trying to snowball this one up. You can see the duplicate forced out there as Pelican moves over to the Diva, built up. That's self-destruct, and of course that's going to be layered down. The recall, going to be able to get the kill, but will get demec'd in the process. Now Edison looks like he's trying to set up himself here for the Death Blossom play, getting speed boosted into the back line with the rest of the Atlanta Rain, but they don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They're going to be respecting the Dallas Fuel, now backing off back to the card to try and play around this corner.
Edison's in a flank again, but Hanbin spotted him. Routed this Reaper out of his position. Edison's going to have to use Wraith to get out, and now he doesn't have tools to go for that enormous Death Blossom. But he's in another flank! Do they know he's here? They do.
Tucked himself into the corner there, but the Atlanta Rain are winning this one. Big advantage when it comes to the ultimates here. For them, still the Dallas Fuel, the ones who are turning it again. You can never count them out. Pelican needs to be dealt with, though. He's still been putting out damage on these off angles. Doha eventually bringing down Hawk in the end. I cannot believe that. Losing 2 picks early on, but turning it around again with the self-destructs.
Yeah, again, it's this double self-destruct, sometimes triple self-destructs in the team fight. And Doha's in the cheekiest of positions. Hawk has no idea.
What is this? They spotted him. Yeah, he's going to be marked ever so slightly. The Raid Form comes through to try and save him. Death Blossom up close. Edison booped away, though. Pushed away from the point, and now they're putting all the pressure now onto Gator. He had to use that Primal Rage to try and survive and separate them. Doha almost getting that kill as well. Forced out another defensive cooldown. Now moving forward, you can see Pelican already built up another self-destruct into the back line. Might be able to get a bit of kills going for them. It does force Dallas into the close quarters of this building. Pelican trying to build up another one. That's the second one of the fight, by the way. Eventually taken out of the duplicate form, but he's bought his team enough time.
He has. He's bought them time to get up to double support ultimates. And so even though Fielder has this opportunity to push... Oh, Sparkle already down! I love this from the Atlanta Reign. They are so often the team on the defense, but this time they take the fight to the fuel. Only 10 seconds remaining, and they push deep into enemy territory. They even have the sound barrier to back up this fight if it starts going badly for them.
South the shot over the top. Doha forced to touch and use the Wraith form just to try and get the overtime going here. Fearless is going to be the tail end there of that Primal Rage, and he wasn't able to get too much done for them. Still, the overtime's going, and Dallas Fuel, they are desperate, they are hungry to try and push this to the finish line. Pelican. Sparkle remaking up onto the high ground. Pelican so close to that duplicate. He's so low, he gets taken out by Hanbin, and that could be the killing blow. The Dallas Fuel pushing forwards now. Only a couple of players left standing for the Atlanta Reign, but no one's able to contest. And that is going to be them getting that capture there in the overtime. Ridiculous stuff from them, considering the Atlanta Reign were really pressuring them all the way almost to their spawn door.
It's just crazy, Brent. Against any other team, that fight from Atlanta where they go aggressive into Fuel spawn, it would annihilate them. It would catch every other team in the league off guard. I am so confident. And the Fuel absorb the aggression completely and push back in with Fearless's Primal, knocking Atlanta left, right, and center, doing so much damage, scattering them, and creating an opportunity to counterattack. How do the Fuel find these opportunities to counterattack? I don't understand. They think faster than their opponents. They're on another level. I know that this series is 1-1, but this is the reason why most people were believing in the Fuel for this match and for this tournament, is because they operate, and their brains, Bren, operate faster than everyone else in the league.
Yeah, it's like watching the just like the hive mind, honestly, of the Dallas Fuel, just being able to make these decisions at the instant speed, it feels like. Way quicker than a lot of the other teams.
I think they connected their brains during Element Mystic way back in the day. And so when they were all split apart and had to join other teams, they didn't look that great. But now that the neurological wires have been re-linked on the Dallas Fuel, they have become one unit, one body.
Just thinking together. Now, with all that being said, singing the praises of them, the map is not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Not
the Atlanta Reign have been looking like a very formidable match for this Dallas Fuel squad. Going to be running these mirror compositions now. They're teasing the concept here that they might be trying to take the high ground. It looks like the DPS as well are going to try and flank. They're going to sync up some play here. Yeah, the DPS come up right around the corner. You see Pelican flying around. It's going to be putting in that damage from the side here as the Atlanta Reign just try and separate them, hammering home a wedge between them to see if they can get the Dallas Fuel and make them weak, but they back off. They don't lose anybody. Very good at disengaging away from this thing, but giving up the high ground in the process.
Yeah, both teams are going to have coalescence now. Both Jexa and Fielder dropped so weak in that team fight, but the tanks were able to peel sublimely. How are they going to deal with Pelican getting right up in their faces, though? And they take out Sparkle just as he was about to get to his duplicate.
Massa goes down as well, though, but it's Jexa going to be falling off the back of this one, and yeah, no Wraith form now for Doha. Just being battered around here by Pelican. Sticky bomb's not going to be connected, just TP'd behind you. Nothing personal, kid. And yeah, the Atlanta Reign, instant response from them. 5 minutes, roughly, now pushing through the streets phase. Wonderful job from them, and incredibly methodical as well. Understanding exactly what they wanted to do. The set play of like pushing, pincering, I suppose, to the DPS in the front line. Slowly taking the high ground, slowly taking the point, and just whistling them down.
They do look extraordinarily practiced, and here's Edison, who doesn't quite have that Death Blossom, and he's mistimed it. The Dallas Fuel have already engaged. This is the problem with going for flank plays against such a fast-paced team. They can outplay you just by pushing.
Yeah, you miss your window. South District comes over, though, and the Atlanta Reign, they want to keep fighting this one. Got a bit of a health advantage, but look at that bomb. It's so good from them. Hanbin just pushing them all backwards, and that is going to be the Death Blossom on top of it. Doha, an absolute monster. Just gets them time and time again, pushing them to their spawn doors, to the very brink. The Atlanta Reign now forced to think, God almighty, how are we pushing out of this one? Because look at the positioning of the Dallas Fuel, holding above their spawn doors. How did they even get out to contest?
It's very difficult. I mean, Dallas still have double support as well. And Atlanta, theirs just got wasted completely in the previous fight. Dallas can take so much time off the clock here. And for Atlanta, it's about finding those opportunities to counter-attack. Can you bait Dallas into overextending, going for a bad engagement? Do you have a big ult that you can respond with and catch people while they're extended, while their abilities are on cooldown? Pelican's the man to do it at the moment.
Yeah, now he's going to be opting to take the form of the Diva. Jexer using that sound barrier to keep his team into it, but that is an instant self-destruct. Forces Doha to use that Wraith form just to try and back off to the rest of his team and survive, but it's the Atlanta Reign who have found the opportunity there. They're going to be collapsing onto the backline of the Dallas Fuel. Lovely little approach from them now. They do have 3.5 minutes as they're finally getting this cart moving.
Fantastic work from Atlanta to be able to break out of that spawn hole. And again, really methodical. They are going tit for tat here with the Dallas Fuel. Everything that Dallas are throwing at them, they have a response for. And now they've got a pretty good ult back for being able to tackle this too. Massa should be able to generate a sound barrier if this fight gets extended, but we'll probably see Atlanta play a little defensively here and try and catch the aggression with their Coalescence.
Coalescence is ready, and now we see it being utilized. Iris just trying to, again, heal his team up through that damage, but it's so difficult when the ultimates are committed into it. Self-destruct comes through, and that was from Hawk to try and push them away from the point, but they've already lost 2. The DPS is no longer up here. It feels inevitable here for the Dallas Fuel to try and hold on.
Those were some fantastic DPS ultimates. Honestly, for Dallas, Doha just found it the perfect timing to be able to get a huge Death Blossom kill immediately there onto, I believe, Edison, and then Sparkle towards the end with his duplicate just finding enormous value. Dallas, yeah, they're making this so difficult for the Atlanta Reign, but this is still a similar scenario to the one that Dallas themselves found themselves in when they were attacking. Halting the momentum just before checkpoint B. Doha is on such an odd flank here. He's just hanging out by the Rhinoceros.
They spotted him. That's the teleport used. Are they going to be able to punish this? No, he's back with the rest of his team.
Yeah, they don't have
the Rhinoceros flank. You never expect that one.
Handbin is the only player with an ultimate. They're looking to get the DMEC really early on.
They force out the self-destruct coming out. Edison
be an amazing
dodges it with the teleport. Okay, and now the Death Blossom are going to be used as they knew that they were going to be engaging on the high ground. Can Edison stay alive? Yes. His team is there. Manages to chunk down Fearless. Fielder healing him back up, though. Almost building up that Coalescence, and now we see, again, the duplicates come through. Pelican is building up that self-destruct. He's got it. It's on the battlefield. The recall as well. It's way too much damage. Almost breaking down the Dallas Fuel as they're trying to still take this fight further forward. But again, it's the big ultimates coming out from Doha. The DPS on the Dallas Fuel coming alive. And how many times has Doha saved his team now in this map alone with these Death Blossoms? It feels like it's been every other fight.
It really has. Every time Edison tries to go for one of those plays, Dallas are reading it. When he teleported up to the high ground after they got the DMEC on Handbin, Fearless was already up in his face, ready to absorb that aggression and stop Edison from getting in on a good timing. Doha is finding these flanks when nobody is looking at him. The observers aren't even looking at him. It's so unexpected, nobody is prepared for it, and he gets big value every time.
Sound barrier again. Gonna be used. Gator just needs to try and split a couple of these teammates up here. Hawk sends in the self-destruct. Doha wasn't really quite ready for that. Maybe didn't have the Ray form, obviously, to try and dodge that one. And it means the Atlanta Reign actually get a pretty free capture. I think the Dallas Fuel probably would have liked to have fought that a little bit longer than they did. Kind of gave it up for free there almost.
Atlanta, though, only have 2 minutes of the time back. So now it's about carrying on this snowball, keeping the momentum flowing. Great kill onto Sparkle. Pelican also has his duplicate here. If they can try and duplicate a Diva, get an early self-destruct, generate some space off the back of that and utilize a Coalescence, they need to be ready. Bait the Dallas Fuel in and then go for an aggressive engage. They need to keep this momentum flowing.
Duplicate again. And yet, we're going to see the self-destructs come through off onto the side. Forcing them back. Handbin, I think, tried to get the remake there, and it was Edison who actually brought him down. Now, the Atlanta Reign looking to try and finish with some of that time left. The Coalescence just trying to hose down the opposition, pushing the Dallas Fuel back.
He just about managed to survive. He just got out with his sound barrier. This could be huge. The Lucio from the Dallas Fuel providing so much extra shielding.
It's going to connect onto a bunch of targets. Dallas Fuel might have the health they need to try and stave this one off, though. Sparkle comes in, the duplicate bomb. It's managed to catch Pelican, and now Gator is just trying to batter them away, but he realizes you got to give this fight up. Ideally, they wanted to finish with a little bit more time, just over the minute mark, but won't be happening. Straight back to the spawn, and now regrouping to see how they're going to be getting this card at least into the finish line. It's most likely going to be an overtime push.
Definitely, if they're able to even succeed at this point. 30 seconds is essentially nothing for attacking checkpoint C. Dallas could go aggressive. They have to worry about Doha being in a flanking position because they know he has the Death Blossom, and there's a call that they have to deal with. Dallas are in a position to win this map right here.
Edison, he's got to come up with magic here. An engagement into the backline. He might have just found the flank angle, but they're on him straight away. The Ray form is used. Edison going down to 100 health. Has to back off around the corner. Doha as well, stopping them from pressing just even that bit further around that corner once more. The Dallas Fuel in control of the point. You see the Death Blossom being used in the backline here. Pelican going to be assuming the form of the Reaper here. Okay, did manage to get the one kill, but the Spawner's coming back in here for the Dallas Fuel. The Mines as well. Not even going to let them touch. We see a last-minute sound barrier coming through from Massa as the stall heroes are picked up now for the Atlanta Reign to try and at least stay into this map, but it will not be enough. The Atlanta Reign going to be falling short of the mark, and the Dallas Fuel walking away here with Numbani delivering, I believe, their second loss on Hybrid this season here to the Atlanta Reign.
And that's a devastating blow. Atlanta, they went for the gutsy play of trying to match the Dallas Fuel on their comfort roles. And instead, they fall short. Only just, but they do fall short by a couple of meters. The Dallas Fuel have taken the lead in this series. Atlanta now have a pick when it comes to Escort, but all of the Escort maps would favor their style. And if they're already reluctant to opt into the Orisa when it comes to Hybrid, are they also reluctant to opt into it on Escort? This now becomes a really difficult task for Atlanta, for the Atlanta coaches, for the Atlanta shot callers. What do you go for here? What kind of map? What kind of strategy? You're down in this series and you need some kind of rope to hold on to. You need a way back in.
You need some answers, certainly, and we're going to be finding out just what they've got in store for us on the other side of this break. You don't want to miss it. You know this series is heating up between these two absolute juggernaut teams in the West as they're battling for that grand final spot. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to miss it.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, from the break. As you can see here, the Dallas Fuel, I mean, did they ever leave Hawaii? Did they just play all their matches from Hawaii? They're already back here. Again, you can see this beautiful group photo. And these guys, obviously no strangers to being in this situation right here. It's important to bring up as well that this Dallas Fuel squad, it's one with veteran talent. These guys have been put in these situations, these championship situations where they're playing for a title, where the pressure is really the highest. And on the other side of things, the Atlanta Reign is a team with not much experience in that regard at all. And this kind of experience is kind of rearing its head, I think, slowly over the course of a series as well, in terms of just making mistakes and making the right decisions in these high pressure scenarios. Obviously, it's a situation where no team is comfortable in, but the Dallas Fuel, they've been in it multiple times.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Fielder's stats here on Moira. He's been able to generate these ultimates so insanely quickly. Actually, 55 seconds is not the fastest that I've seen from this guy. He's been down to 50, maybe even lower. If you've seen a stat card that has it even lower than that, write in, send me a postcard.
Yeah.
And,
feels like 15 sometimes.
The way,
it really
does,
these team fights go.
What I've been noticing with the Fuel, though, as well, is that Fielder and Jexa are often early targets from the Atlanta Reign when they're playing the mirror. And if they're able to get to safety, the tanks tend to step forwards in those moments to distract, to peel, to not just necessarily to body block, but to draw attention away from Atlanta and put their bodies on the line. To tank, right? And that kind of flow means that Fearless can then play much more aggressively, generate his primal charge really quickly, and it saves Jexa and Fielder and wastes all of the abilities that we used to try and target them early on. This has been so effective and played out a lot over the course of Numbani. We've now seen 3 maps that have been, okay, there've been a little bit of Orisa played, like here and there on Volskaya, but mostly it's just been decided by playing the mirror. And now we're headed to Rialto, a map where you almost never see that.
Yeah, Rialto, an interesting one. As you can see here from our map leaderboards presented by Xfinity, the Fuel showcasing themselves twice in our leaderboard here. 2020, interesting time here, setting one of the best times against Houston. Really, really interesting stuff overall. And obviously
that was when Decay had his masterclass performance on the.
I
think
really?
That was that match. It may not have been, but there was certainly a Dallas versus Houston on Rialto where that happened.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly explain it. I mean, the guy just, it felt like he was being fueled by rage. Dallas have a tendency to just fuel these certain players with rage to win. Just absolutely absurd stuff heading into Rialto now. Maybe we'll see something similar here from the Dallas Fuel. Obviously, one map away from taking the series and moving forwards into that grand finals. Quite magical if they manage to make it happen here. The Atlanta Reign need to battle back in this. And the question in my mind keeps coming up about this veteran presence on either side. The teams that have been used to playing in these circumstances and how kind of pressure is really going to be forcing mistakes, I think.
The mental game is absolutely an important component of it, but I'm also here thinking about the strategic game too. This map I would have expected coming into the series to be one where Atlanta Reign picks it in order to play Orisa compositions, in order to get value out of Reaper Torb, or some long-range hit scan from Kai. And instead we see Pelican, Edison, and a Mirror Rush matchup on Rialto of all maps. I don't know how this is going to go down. I don't know if Atlanta Reign have prepared anything here, or if they're just flying by the seat of their pants right now. When your pre-planned strategy goes out the window, sometimes improvisation has to work. And here for Atlanta, it has to. For us to be pushed to a 5th map here, Atlanta need to take the win on their map choice of Rialto right now.
Certainly do. You can see the contest happening here onto the point. The Dallas Fuel trying to get in a better position to take this fight now. They've rotated up onto the high ground, eventually dropping down, though. The tanks want to be fighting, and it's actually Gator who steps forward there, lays down the bubble. Again, to try and take out some of those support players. Fielder will go down this time. The Dallas Fuel are looking to try and chop them off just before they stretch over towards this choke point here, but it seems like the Atlanta Reign are the ones in control. Obviously, been having to reset off of this one. Though getting that pick onto Edison and getting out alive is potentially big.
I don't think it'll make too much of a difference because Edison can teleport back off the respawn, and they do have enough ultimates here to be able to delay. That is a phenomenal play by Pelican and Hawk. Hawk has been so good, by the way. He is just finding all of these opportunities to follow up on other people's damage, but now they have to resist this Coalescence coming out from Fielder.
Yeah, neither side wanting to let up just yet. The Coalescence is used. Fearless will get dropped here. Jexa following as well. You just can't really overcome it. It is so hard to play into unless you're really going to be playing perfectly. Obviously, they had the Coalescence for it, but the Atlanta Reign, so far, so good. Buying a ton of time around this corner, and they haven't lost one of the most powerful positions to hold at when it comes to this first point of Rialto.
Yeah, that was a great performance by Atlanta. They also stopped Fearless from being able to generate his Primal early on. He was looking for an engagement off the back of that Coalescence and died at 85%. If he had been allowed to survive for a little longer, he would have had that. But now Dallas are coming back in with double tank ultimate and Sparkle's duplicate.
Doha has this Death Blossom, holding on to it for now, and now the soundbar from the Atlanta Rangers try and stretch this fight forwards. Jexa, I think, will try to beat it in the middle of that, or maybe used it just a little bit beforehand, but taken out regardless. Still Sparkle with the 2K with the bomb. It does not even matter. Edison with 3, still holding on to this corner. The Atlanta Reign, whatever adaptations they made in that short break that we had, it appears to be working.
Atlanta took control of all the high grounds there and just dodged Doha. We were watching it from his point of view, and he never found an opportunity to kill anybody or do damage to anybody. And the Atlanta Reign, they're just not getting pinned back in a corner. They're keeping positional advantages throughout all of these engagements. Iris going to respond with the Coalescence, slightly better because it's later, but their soul could be huge. They don't even get the opportunity. Edison ripped back to the spawn queue by Hanbin's ult.
Yeah, taken out. And that was the opening that the Dallas Fuel were looking for. Card's going to be moving forwards. I think they took that team fight in a way that they're probably not going to be contesting this one. It's hard to tell if they want to try and look to engage. They're kind of squaring up to it, but Edison brought down. He was hiding around the corner. The Death Blossom to try and push them off. It's done its job, and yeah, instant going to be straight into the drink. The Dallas Fuel obviously pressing forwards now, looking to try and hold onto this staircase.
Unfortunate there from Atlanta that they're not able to get a good recontest, but I love that ultimate from Doha. It's just a pure zoning Death Blossom to stop anybody from the Reign getting close to the objective. And now Dallas, they take high ground control. Hanbin looking for a remake kill. Ooh, that did a lot of damage to Hawk. Thankfully, it was Hawk.
A little bit cheeky. Just trying to go around the corner now. You can see it's chaos in close quarters. Trying to find out and decipher what's going on here from all the particle effects, but it looks like the Divas have got those self-destructs online now. We're going to be sending them traded out on either side. The teleport! Doha tried to dodge it. Wasn't able to do so. Just a little bit late off the mark with that ability. And the Atlanta Reign, well, they've got all the picks they need. That's going to be another great defense for them.
Certainly is. Dallas's momentum, it stopped early here. And the Atlanta Reign, they still have double support ultimates. Such a huge advantage in these team fights. Pelican prodding forward, getting cheeky with this, just trying to generate as much ultimate charge as he can. And for Dallas, they're going to try and cross the bridge safely, take high ground control again, and utilize Fearless's Primal Rage. These have been devastating. Look at this hard engage straight into the back line as Fearless plunges forward fearlessly.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Edison straight away pushed into the corner there. Now the sound barrier from Massa will connect onto 4. Jexa going to be answering back with one of his own here. So the Dallas Fuel, they've got the health they need to try and take this fight. The Coalescence forced out by Iris here, and it might be enough to try and turn it, especially the Pelican is still putting in the good work there. Maybe not enough though. Massa falling in the midst of this one, and now the Coalescence from Fielder. It's a much better one, it's much later. A great self-destruct to force it backwards, and Fielder goes down. Can't fade away in the process of that one. Still, the cart is going to move forwards around this corner. Dallas Fuel still on the attack, and this time they've broken past one of the more difficult areas to try and push through.
Doha is looking for a play here.
Wow.
Okay. Immediately. Edison with a 2-shot before Doha can even react and Wraith form. That resets the momentum of Dallas completely, and they only have a minute left. That could have been such a nice play. You can see what Doha was going for as Atlanta Reign take the stairs area. He was looking for a cheeky Death Blossom. Sparkle is deep behind them right now.
Yeah, Sparkle building up this bomb once more. Could be big for him. Sends it straight. He tried to send it straight up into the air. Ended up going into the corner. I don't think he anticipated that one, but the recall damage is there. It's going to catch on to at least one person. And a Coalescence to try and keep Hawk back into the fight. Going to be enough. In fact, that bomb as well forced the line of sight back, so Iris gets nothing done with it, and Doha. Another big ultimate from this guy. He's come up so big, and yep, down to the final few moments, but they're going to get rewarded with a little bit more time now to work with.
Dallas are looking to press this advantage. They need the cart to continue forwards, but they also want to be trying to find kills. This is the most defensible area of Rialto, and they only have a minute and a half with which to fight. So they don't really want a big pokey engagement where Atlanta can get back into this. Unfortunately, Atlanta have just taken it, and that's such a good kill by Pelican. Straight into the back with a focusing beam.
No punish on him. Just able to get the kill, get the duplicate as well. Sending in the self-destructs. Dallas backing off around the corner, but again, you don't want to feed up too much damage here. This is a good punish, an attempt at least from the Dallas Fuel. Going to be sending in that self-destruct. Now the sound barrier from Jexa again to keep them nice and healthy into this one. No one's really punished. This is
where
Pelican.
they punish.
Yeah, and now they're just trying to step onto them. And look at this, Pelican comes in on the flank. Wonderful damage. That is ridiculous to stay into that fight with 100 health. And he's put in the work once more.
That is outrageous. I thought the Dallas Fuel were going to punish an overextension there from Atlanta, but it was all a ruse. It was all a bait. As soon as Dallas Fuel stepped forwards to try and do that, as soon as they sniffed out Gator with only 100 HP, they were waiting, ready for the collapse. Double support ultimate, Ando Death Blossom strikes the Dallas Fuel's chances away. And now with 20 seconds left, they're looking at being fairly far away from completion on Rialto. Doha, he's come up with magic before. He's got to do it again.
Yep, has the Death Blossom. Now he's going to be utilizing it, Edison. Did not have the Wraith form again to escape from that one. No defensive cooldown. Sparkle moving over to the Reaper here. This push is going to keep going. But in the overtime, and now they've got a hard task ahead of them here. The Atlanta Rain obviously coming back off the respawns, and Pelican, my eyes are on this guy again with the duplicate. It's been so big in the past.
They also have Fielder's Coalescence though, so Fearless and Fielder could go really aggressive here.
Diva again, the form coming up, building up this ultimate, trying to get the bomb online because it's so crucial. Shield's blocking up a bit of it, but now this bomb's going to be traded on either side. Pushing away the positioning. Dallas still in this one. They want to try and take this one even further beyond. Fielder now using that Coalescence. Be healing them up, but eventually going to be stopped now, and the Death Blossom of Edison is going to be stopping them from really just trying to get any sort of mark now onto this point. Now the Death Blossom, Massa not giving up whatsoever. Edison as well, he's putting in a lot of damage with the Hellfire shotguns. Dallas trying to stay into this one. Jexa with the sound barrier, but only onto 2, dodging the South shot that comes in. Edison looking prime now to try and stop this one. And the Atlanta Rain can be quite pleased with that one. The Dallas Fuel not getting to the end point here of Rialto.
Atlanta did a great job at stopping the momentum every time it reared its head. Dallas, they had a fairly effective push once it got to A, but then they couldn't keep the momentum going towards B. Same time, every time there was an opportunity for Atlanta to hold, they did. They got back in to be able to recontest B and took the high ground control and forced Dallas to push back in over the bridge. They took C control at the ramp and were able to fight them multiple times and generate a lot of team fights, a lot of time clicking off the clock. This has been a really effective map so far from Atlanta. But what we've seen so far is that the maps can just flip on their heads. We were impressed by Atlanta's attack when it came to Volskaya as well, and then Dallas Fuel just ripped a better one out. Perhaps Dallas Fuel's defense here is just simply going to be sublime. There's no way to tell with this team. Sometimes there are certain areas of the map where it feels like they're unbeatable. Rialto could be one of them. We haven't seen them tested here.
Yeah, we're about to find out, I suppose. Certainly possible. I mean, the amount of stress I was putting on like the key locations, I suppose, to defend that in Rialto. In particular, this corner there that you're seeing that the Dallas Fuel are kind of getting set up on as well. If you find an opportunity to defend just before it captures on checkpoint A, Rialto can be a really difficult map to try and push through. Now, the Atlanta Rain, they can see the finish line. I mean, it's an easy goal in theory, I suppose, to reach, but in reality, might be different.
Yeah, between you and that finish line is the entire might of the Dallas Fuel, the May Melee champions, and they're looking to go to the grand finals of the June Joust. It's only the rain that stands in their way. One good defense would do it.
And Pelican is, again, the guy to watch for here. He's built up about 50% here of the duplicate, just spamming in that damage. And it's his engagers with the flight as well, trying to find those little angles to try and potentially get a pick off. That's what really opens things up here for the Atlanta Reign. He's done it so often. The desk was hammering it home as well, just how good this guy is at opening up opportunities, finding weaknesses. The Dallas Fuel not giving up, still just holding onto the corner, taking a ton of that damage. That was a good connection over the sticky bombs. Pelican so close to this duplicate. This could be the big win con for them, but now the Dallas Fuel, they want to engage straight onto them. The initiation is taken. And the Atlanta Reign, they absorb the aggression pretty well there. They don't lose anybody in the process. Pelican now just trying to build up that self-destruct really quickly. He's going to send it now into the backline once again. The recall. He's going to be doing a bit of damage to somebody, and it's Jexa having to use that sound barrier just to keep their team back in the fight. Again, no one has died in this fight. It still continues. In fact, now it's the Primal Rage being built up by Fearless, and that is going to be separating the Atlanta Reign. Can't really be affording to take this fight any further. Forwards, almost dropping off the edge from that boob. Death Blossom committed there by Edison, but that's a bit of a wasted ult.
It is. If Edison had been able to find one kill, possibly, I mean, if he'd been able to find two, that definitely cracks things open with their faster respawns. As it is, completely wasted ultimate, absolutely. Yeah, the Dallas Fuel had multiple Primal Rages before Gator even had his online. Sparkle's duplicate found one, and then Fearless himself was able to generate one as well. The Dallas Fuel just have a much better understanding, it feels, on this defense of the flow of ultimates. Atlanta are going for really hard engages like this, but this time it works out. Can Doha peel? He almost does.
Doha just putting in so much work. That was looking so good for the Atlanta Reign, but it's almost been evened out here. They're still alive. Now the tank line of the Atlanta Reign is trying to at least get this kill onto Jexa, but I think he just escaped with his life, and the D-Met comes through. Primal Rage on Gator. He's desperate to try and hunt for a kill or something, but Doha's really trying to press the issue there. A wonderful punish as Fearless and Doha are finally taken out, and the Atlanta Reign obviously on the attack coming back in. A little bit of revenge from them, biting back.
This is going to give Dallas Fuel an opportunity to recontest, though. They get back in the fight early enough. Fearless is going to be able to generate a Primal Rage in the middle of this one, but it's on Sparkle to contest this. He's going to be able to get up another duplicate. Oh, Sparkle! If he was taken out there, that would have been devastating for Dallas, but he just
gets
survives.
a duplicate off. Yep, he's going to be assuming the form of the Winston. See, he's built up the Primal Rage quickly, obviously enough. This could be massive for them. Pelican, though.
Good move.
Death Blossom, but he's battered back. Not able to get value out of it. Still the coalescence of the Atlanta Reign keeping them alive, and Doha goes down. That self-destruct! And Ben, are you kidding me? Laid it on top. They had so much trust in Gator's bubble to stop the damage coming through, but it's not enough.
Get through this.
And that is a killing blow for the Atlanta Reign, possibly. 30 seconds remain, and they are going to be pushing into one of these classic Doha Death Blossoms. Where is he? He could be behind any corner. The Atlanta Reign, as they push forwards, won't have the luxury of being able to check every position. They just have to forge forwards. Edison and Hawk have ultimates of their own, but Dallas are bringing the fight to them.
Straight into the choke point. They're doing a good job, the Atlanta Reign, of eating up a lot of the damage coming their way. Edison comes through, and that's the kill onto Fearless. The punish comes through. The Atlanta Reign with only 7 seconds remaining. The contest still coming through as the Dallas Fuel are chucking the bodies at the point, but it's not enough. The Atlanta Reign just about squeaked through. Oh my God, was that close?
That was insanely close. Edison was the player of the team fight there. He was able to get off a massive Death Blossom right in the middle of that choke point where the entirety of the Dallas Fuel were coalescing, and he just annihilated them. So much damage onto both of the tanks, waited out Hanbin's defense matrix perfectly, and got off hundreds of points of damage. Now Atlanta, they can start to generate some momentum. They're going to be up to double support ultimates. They can fight over this high ground. They don't just have to give it up. And they have double tank ultimates here.
Pelican, he's found his mark again. No surprises on the Diva. Now Jexa coming in, but Fearless not catching that sound barrier.
89%.
Potentially a critical mistake. Not able to get the Primal Rage, not able to survive, and now the Atlanta Reign, obviously they're going to be pressing forwards. They've lost their main tank, the Dallas Fuel, finding it difficult to stand up against this kind of pressure. Self-destruct off onto the side. Hanbin wants to get back into that mech, so not going to be having that ultimate now for this fight. And the Atlanta Reign pushing in with the double support ults. The coalescence comes through. Massa still holding on to the beats as well. Fearless back into the fight though. Now going to be using that Primal Rage. No way, you're kidding me. Okay, thought he was about to get A little bit of a cheeky environmental kill, but he's bought his team enough time for them to come back into this one. Potentially enough time for Fielder to build up the coalescence of his own. Now that's going to be unleashed. The Dallas Fuel coming back into this one with vengeance. Looking to try and finish up this team fight, and they're going to hopefully do this one now with the Death Blossom on top. The Atlanta Reign, okay, a minute remaining. Really just being pushed to the distance. It is so difficult. You can feel how hard it is for this team, the Atlanta Reign, despite the fact that they only have to get just a little bit further past this checkpoint.
Absolutely.
So
Warring
difficult
Death
to do.
Blossoms. Warring Death Blossoms towards the end, but Hanbin's defense matrix gives Doha the advantage. But again, it's Fearless. His primals, they do so much work, significantly outplaying Gator in the head-to-head here. But that isn't making the difference, honestly. Overall, this is still a very team-based meta. Pelican flanking around the back. Oh, he duplicated the Reaper!
Yeah. Catching onto the Reaper there. I don't know if that was intentional, but he's going to be building up the ult. Nevertheless, might be able to get a bit of work done, especially when Gator sets him up there. Battering Fearless into it, putting in a ton of work. Dallas not out of this just yet. Hanbin still holding onto that ultimate, but with Sparkle down, they're not going to really have the damage to get too much done. In fact, as well, Doha has to reform back as well out of this fight. They look like they want to recontest. Dallas coming back into this one. Okay, the self-destruct over the top. Hanbin doesn't get too much done, but at least it forces the positioning. And now Gator was susceptible, taken out. The sound barrier committed. Massa wants to try and keep his team in this one at any cost. The ultimate's committed. The Fade forced out here. Fearless completely removing Iris from this fight. They're not going to have any healing, and that is going to be it. The Dallas Fuel. What an engagement. Sensing blood in the water. I don't know what the go button was for them, but that is going to secure them the map, and that is going to secure them the series 3-1. They're going to be moving forwards into that grand finals here for the June Joust. And yeah, it's a situation this team has been in many, many times, it feels like now.
Jexit almost looks pained that they had to win that one in such close fashion. I'm not sure whether Dallas thought they were going to get pushed this hard in the series. The scoreboard says 3-1, but Atlanta were neck and neck for a lot of it. This was clearly a high-level match between two teams that are at their best right now in the middle of the June Joust. But it's Dallas Fuel who come out on top, set themselves up for another Grand Finals appearance, and they attempt to go on the same run they did for the May Melee. Could we see back-to-back champions for our first two stages? It seems likely with the way that Dallas played there. Such high tempo, such a decisive team in June Joust.
Would be incredible to see, truly would. And the Atlanta Reign coming off the back of this one. I think, honestly, you know, the desk was pretty split in terms of the predictions of this one, in terms of our expectations as well. And they certainly put up a very, very strong performance, but they are going to be sent down into the lower bracket. They're going to have to be battling through to try and make it to the grand finals now. And yeah, it's going to be a tough road ahead of them, considering the competition that's there. But nevertheless, Dallas Fuel are the ones who are going to be winning this one out. You can see the players obviously out of the seat or celebrating away.
And Dallas have done a great job in this series, showcasing their ability to be able to absorb different team compositions, absorb the aggression from Atlanta. And one of the key players here was our player of the match presented by Xfinity. It's Doha. He's not at his chair right now. He's off celebrating with the rest of the team. But he was a phenom in this match. He found so many crucial Death Blossom plays, looping his way into the back, finding flank angles and targets to be able to take out. He was insanely good.
Yeah, and so much of this meta comes from, it feels, I imagine as well, it feels seemingly random at times in terms of like which team's winning. Sometimes the picks go one way, but the team fight goes another. But it comes down to intelligent Reaper usage. And Doha, with his timings of these ultimates, finding the right moments, but also, of course, being set up and assisted by people like Fearless, like Jexa as well, setting him up with the boops. Hanbin as well, yeah, absolutely. All his team putting all these resources into really just enabling him. And of course, it's paid off so many times. In this match, you can see the Death Blossom efficiency 2.0 and the kills per 10 minutes of 9.6. Absolutely absurd stuff.
That is crazy. He has 10 final blows per 10 and 9.6 Death Blossom eliminations would be a better way of putting that, right?
Sure.
For 10 minutes too. So, yeah, that is wild stuff. Those ultimates from Doha were real game changers. If you think back to the beginning of the series, Bren, I was actually saying I was setting up the audience to potentially expect an underperformance here from Doha. because that reared its head a little bit and was part of the reason for the San Francisco Shock being able to take the win over the Dallas Fuel in the regular season portion of our June Joust. They were able to find Doha as an early pick a lot and isolate him in the middle of these team fights. That was not the case today. Doha was able to wriggle away. He died first very little over the course of the series, and instead his ults were the difference maker.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to head to a short break, and on the other side of things, I believe the desk is going to be breaking down what we've seen thus far, and also setting up the next matches that are coming up, because we've got 2 more games today. You guys are in for a treat, actually, here for the June Joust. We're going to be watching and preparing, I suppose, for the next series of the day, the New York Excelsior versus the Shanghai Dragons. Even before that, though, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, Josh, here. An interview with Sparkle as well to look forward to. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with even more Overwatch League action. See you then.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Go to takemetomanoa.org today.
Welcome to the Game Break presented by Cheesy Cruise. We're joined now by Sparkle from Dallas Fuel. Sparkle, congratulations on your win today, and congratulations on moving on to the June Joust Finals. 스파클 선수 오늘 승리 너무나 축하드리고요. 또 이제 결승전에 올라가시게 된 거 정말로 축하 많이 드립니다.
감사합니다.
Sparkle says thank you. All right. My first question for you, Sparkle, is yesterday Doha said that Atlanta Reign was the best defensive team in NA, but today they really showed us that they can be really aggressive as well. Did you expect them to opt in a mirror matchup against you guys? 첫 번째 질문은 어제 도하 선수가 인터뷰에서 좀 이런 말씀하셨어요. 오늘 그러니까 아틀란타 팀이 어떻게 보면 지금 북미 쪽에서 최강의 어떻게 보면 좀 단어를 까먹었네요. 잠시만요.
수비적인?
수비적인, 그렇죠. 죄송합니다. 네, 수비적인, 방어를 잘하는, 북미에서 제일 방어와 수비적인 걸 제일 잘하는 팀 중에 하나라고 말씀을 하셨는데, 오늘 좀 다른 모습을 보여줬던 것 같아요. 조금 더 공격적인 모습도 많이 보여줬고, 그러한 이유로 스파클 선수가 보셨을 때 아틀란타 레인이 조금 더 미러전을 했던 거에 대해서 좀 놀라셨나요?
조금 안 놀랐다고 하면 거짓말이고, 일단은 애틀란타가 최고의 수비적인 팀이긴 하지만 저희도 또 이제 최고의 공격적인 팀이기 때문에 저희의 공격을 이제 못 받아냈기 때문에 그렇게 바꾼 것 같아요. 그래가지고 이제 저희 입장에서는 미러전 하면은 땡큐기 때문에 네, 너무 달았습니다.
Alright, so I feel like it'll be a lie if I say that I wasn't surprised when they came out with the mirror and they sort of changed their play style, being a little bit more offensive. I believe Atlanta Reign was a bit more offensive in today's match, just because they are the sort of the best defensive team in NA. But we, Dallas Fuel, are the best offensive team, and I feel like they really couldn't handle our offense well. So that is why they also went offensive. And if it's a mirror match against us, Dallas Fuel, I just really it's an easier fight for us. So I think that is how we won the fight against Atlanta Reign. All right, my second question is a simple one, Sparkle. Who do you think is going to be your opponent in the June Joust Finals and why? 자, 두 번째 질문은 좀 더 쉬운 질문입니다. 이제 결승전에 올라가시게 되셨는데 결승전에서 어떤 팀과 겨룰 거라고 생각을 하시나요?
일단 애틀란타가 올라오지 않을까 좀 조심스럽게 예상을 해봅니다. 왜냐하면 상하이랑 경기를 해봤는데 약간 좀 이상한 조합을 가져오더라고요. 근데 애틀란타가 그런 조합을 또 대처를 잘하기 때문에 아마 애틀란타가 쉽게 올라오지 않을까라고 생각합니다.
Alright. I would have to go with Atlanta Reign. I think it is going to be a rematch against Atlanta Reign for the June Joust Finals because Shanghai Dragons, what I've noticed was that they sort of use a weird, quote-unquote, weird comp, and I feel like Atlanta is really good at handling those situations well. So I believe Atlanta Reign is going to beat the Shanghai Dragons and come up, and it's going to be a rematch up against Dallas Fuel versus Atlanta Reign one more time for the finals. Alright, that is it for the interview. Sparkle, thank you so much for your time. 스파클 선수 인터뷰에 주셔서 너무 감사드리고 결승에서 뵙도록 하겠습니다.
네.
Alright, let's head back to the desk.
안녕.
Yahoo! Bye!
I love him. Love him. Thank you so much, Danny. And of course, Sparkle, congrats to the Dallas Fuel and everyone who rooted for them. Not everyone here on the desk went Dallas Fuel. Pointing it out. I was one of them. Yeah, that's right.
I was down bad. I needed a Fred Wright. I needed a Fred Wright to catch up.
Yeah, we're going to give you that one, and then Atlanta is going to come back and rock them in the finals. Anyway, I do want to discuss the match because I feel like this was, or at least as far as I remember, the closest series I saw any team play against the Dallas Fuel. We saw a lot of great performances on both sides. One of them I want to point out thanks to Row Creativity on Twitter, Aloha Doha, that is a good pun, so that would have been a missed opportunity to point that out. He really popped off in the match today. I think he played a phenomenal Reaper. In a lot of situations, he was kind of the playmaker and really brought the Dallas Fuel back into fights, which we already thought they have lost. Now, Atlanta Reign, they did opt for the mirror comp more often than not here. Is that the way to play Reinforce?
That's a great question. That's a perfect setup, Zoe. Because this is why having two lives here in the June Joust bracket is so crucial. Because in my opinion, Atlanta Reign, they desperately needed this match to figure out how to beat Dallas Fuel in the end. Because Atlanta Reign, they came into this match and they said, hey, we're pretty good at the Torp composition, but we're also pretty good at this rush composition. And we saw Atlanta Reign, they won that control map. And that was so crucial for the rest of the series, I thought. Because now, if you are the Atlanta Reign, you're thinking, hey, we can beat Dallas Fuel at their own game. We can beat Dallas Fuel playing the Lucio Moira composition, and we don't have to worry about the shield composition. Now, who knows? Maybe they had planned to run some Torbjorn on Numbani, maybe they hadn't. But I feel like Atlanta Reign, they got this like confidence from beating Dallas Fuel on Nepal, which really set the tone for the rest of the series. Because we saw Atlanta Reign, they brought